Hello. Welcome to From Beyond the Paign podcast. If you listened to the last show, I said that I wasn't going to do a post game for the Friday game because it was against FDU, and I actually had plans. Well, that was a day before all of the news that came out yesterday related to Terrence Shannon Jr. So we're here now. Perhaps I could have just done this before the game or whatever. Turns out it didn't. It doesn't really. I mean, in some aspects, it kind of matters what Brad Underwood has to say. But considering what Josh Whitman said in his press conference today before the game, it really doesn't matter what Brad Underwood has to say because he's basically been on the sidelines for this entire situation related to Terrence Shannon Jr. Since, he was made aware of it back in September. I gotta take a sip. So before we get into this, guys, we got 91, almost 100 people watching. Shane, I see you in the comments. Thank you for being here. I'm interested in anyone's thoughts. I'm willing to have an open dialogue about this. I'm not going to sit here and tell you if you're right or wrong. I'm going to tell if you were in the Twitter space last night, if you watched the TikTok video I put up related to this, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I guess my thought, my opinion on what happened, on whatever happened between this woman and Terrence Shannon Jr. in Lawerence, Kansas. I'm not going to give you that because I'm going to piss off one side or the other, no matter what. And that's not the point of this. I'm not trying to start a fight with people on the internet over this. All right. If you want to think that he's innocent in this, bruh, go right on ahead. Like, I hope so. I hope he is. If you want my general thoughts on that, I hope he's innocent because I hope that shit really didn't happen. At least, some sort of something that would cause sexual assault, rape, whatever. I hope that didn't happen just for the sake of, that's just in general bad, right? I know this is a very touchy subject. This is obviously a very touchy subject. And when I started this podcast, I did not think a month into it that I was going to have to sit here and talk about a player on Illinois basketball getting charged with rape. All right. This is going to be the hardest podcast I've ever had to do. And I'm doing it by myself. And I'm trying to be open and I'm trying to be thoughtful and upfront with y'all that I don't have all the answers. I'm just here for an open dialogue and we can talk about what Josh Whitman said. And then before the show ends, I'll go into a little bit about the game tonight and talk about it from a basketball perspective. So last night or yesterday, if you watched the TikTok video, I said in that video, the one thing that bothered me was that Illinois, knowing that TSJ was under these allegations, it bothered me that Illinois continued to promote him and market off him, basically. And one of the quotes from Josh Whitman in his presser today, and I'm reading tweets from Brett, I think it's pronounced Beherns from WCIA Channel 3 in Champaign. This is him. This is Josh Whitman on TSJ and why the university didn't act until now. It was a collective opinion that the information that was such to pass the threshold to launch the misconduct process that stayed in that vein until 2 days ago. So basically, they just didn't think there was enough evidence at all to do anything, right? And I get you think of it one way or another, I guess. But it's a fair answer. It's a fair answer, so I have nothing against it. If you just to go over the incident, if you don't know, if you're just tuning in and you don't really know, you've been under a rock. The allegations happened at a bar in Lawerence, Kansas, in what they call public setting, obviously, because since it's a bar. And Terrence Shannon Jr. is being accused of, quote, some inappropriate touching, according to what Josh Whitman said. So, I will say, like, I didn't go read the laws of the state of Kansas, so I'll say this: like, when you're charging someone with rape, and then Josh Whitman tells me the next day that it's inappropriate touching in a public setting, all kinds of things could happen at a bar, right? All kinds of things, but it just to me they don't add up, and so I'll leave it at that. That's my 2 cents on that, and so that is what it is at this point. But that was my first thought. I'll give you. I can tell you that was my first thought. Like, this, just kind of like I kind of agree with Kyler's comment here, where he says, I think initial charges were extremely harsh wording from what details Whitman gave out today. And that's exactly how I feel. And so I'm really kind of confused at this point related to this entire situation and how the wording has been set up. Yeah, I don't know. But he said during the presser that he was not made of the complaint, or he was not made aware the complaint was officially filed on December 5th. And so I'm a little confused behind that whole process, to be honest with you. I would listen to this entire thing, and honestly, I was very confused through a lot of it. But I guess Illinois they have a policy that they go through a process. So Terrence Shannon Jr. has been suspended, and now this panel of people basically will look at whatever they have been handed, and they will, I guess, in a sense, make a decision on if this will change down the road or not. I could be completely wrong on that, but that's kind of how I took it. You guys can correct me in the chat. Again, it was a little confusing, for sure. I think one important note here as well is, while he is suspended, he's still a scholarship athlete, which means he still has access to, certain levels of the university. I'm pretty sure he probably can still work out or whatever at all the team facilities and stuff like that. He just can't do anything with the team. So I think that's important to note. It's not like he's being kicked off campus. It's not like he's being sent away. And that was something that I was kind of concerned with yesterday before all this news came out. Oh, I'm reading the comments here. Brian Burns, what's crazy is if he's charged to lying about being a football player, misleading who you are. So if he was a football player, it'd be fine. I'm kind of confused on what you're trying to say, Brian, to be honest. So I'll get my overall thoughts on the 35 minutes that Josh Whitman just talked. I don't think I'd ever been prouder to have the athletic director for the University of Illinois that Illinois has. I know when I was younger, when I was a kid, when I didn't really give a shit who the athletic director was when I was a kid, I know a lot of my family members used to complain about the AD for Illinois. I think Josh Whitman's been a great athletic director at the University of Illinois. A lot of programs have taken big steps in the positive direction. I think one of the things that I took away from when he first started talking was that when he got hired, they started to try and fix a risk management the risk management process at the university, which kind of makes sense. If you remember, around the time when he came in to the university, the men's basketball team had all kinds of issues. Kendrick Nunn, for example. The basketball program especially was in shambles when he came in. So to see him talk about how they took the steps to better this so that Illinois doesn't look like they are, you know, caught flat-footed or something like that, I can appreciate that. So that's my biggest thing from this press conference that he had, this 35-minute press conference, is that he's someone that I'm happy is leading the athletic program. Even though I mainly follow the basketball program and that's it. Like, it's comforting knowing that he's the one, or he's the leader at the very top. So that was one thing that I took away from this that I guess you can take as a positive. So Dingus McCracken, I love this name, Dingus McCracken, in the chat, he says Josh has been top notch for sure. So I think that was one thing that stood out to me. I thought his answers related to, there were multiple reporters who asked, like, why did you promote Terrence Shannon Jr. knowing all of this stuff was happening? And I thought his answers were as good as he could give them, I guess. I mean, I had nothing wrong with what he said. Again, they didn't have enough evidence. There was nothing that showed that, you know, it basically, without saying it, it seemed like they were saying that they believed he was innocent. And I can't fault them for believing that. For how much I know, they have to know more than I do. So how can I jump to any kind of different conclusion than I'll take your word for it on this one, Josh? You know, so God, this is such a tough thing to talk about without saying the wrong thing. And I just, again, I want y'all to know that, like, I'm trying to do this the most, like, in the most sensitive way possible. So I think that those answers were important. And again, that was my biggest thing, was like, why are we promoting this guy for the last 3 months knowingly that he had been under an investigation related to going to a Kansas Illinois football game back in like early September? Like, it was just so weird to me too that this all happened at that. I remember watching that football game and being absolutely embarrassed because Illinois got killed that night. I remember them putting the camera on the guy. I remember seeing him in the stands at that game, or at least I saw a picture on Twitter or something. I knew he was there. I think they were, you know, Illinois was promoting that him and Johnny Newton were like close friends, and that is why he was there. Because he wasn't there with like representing the university. He was there to see a friend. Of course, the incident happens at a bar. I'm assuming after the game, later that night. So, in relation to that, Josh Whitman kind of went through the timeline. And then in quote, he said, "We did learn through UIPD that the allegations seemed to be something that occurred in public in a Lawerence bar where TJ interacted with a young woman that he engaged in some appropriate touching." And I already mentioned the appropriate touching part. I still just don't get that. Like, I was going to assume something crazier was going to be said. Man. I don't know. I don't know. But I'll say this. And again, like I said, I'm not I don't fully have an opinion on this, on innocent or guilty. I will say I'm leaning more so not guilty just based off what we were told today. But again, these people know more than I do. Terrence Shannon Jr. knows more than I do. This girl knows more than I do. It's a very, very, very bizarre story to this point. Something I wasn't expecting. Yesterday, I said it was the darkest day in my Illini fandom, and I'm sitting here now, and I'm just kind of like, what the fuck happened in Lawerence, Kansas, September 8th? So, again, up until Wednesday, we didn't have any concrete information that we felt justified any sort of change in Terrence's status. That is his answer to why the school allowed Terrence Shannon Jr. to play when they knew he could be facing a criminal charge. So to them, they thought that he didn't do anything wrong. They after talking to him about it, after talking to whoever else about it, they felt like he didn't do anything wrong. So we're going to see if this is going to fire back on them or not, because, this is going to court. And I think it's sometime mid-January when that first court case is happening. I'm scrolling Brett Behern's Twitter timeline. I think he tweeted something related to that today, actually. Yes, 7 hours ago. He's his first court appearance is scheduled for January 18th at 3 p.m. in Douglas County, Kansas. And then I guess the DA's office didn't have any comments related to that case. So that's all we know, is that Terrence Shannon Jr. will be in Lawerence, Kansas, or Douglas County, Kansas, January 18th at 3 p.m. for this first court appearance. And I don't think he's ever going to play for Illinois again, unless charges are dropped or something. Maybe this, quote unquote panel, comes to a conclusion and believes that he can play. I don't know. I really don't know. I would lean that he's not going to play for Illinois again. That's just kind of how I feel. But all in all, to this point, tonight, I can confidently say I feel a lot different than I did yesterday when this news all came out. I don't think that he is. God, I don't know how to say this. I don't think that everything is going to be fully okay. But you all know I'm a betting man. If I'm a betting man right now, I would say that he is going to get out of this, and he is at least going to go play in the NBA. That's what I would bet right now. That's to me, based off the information we have, that's how I feel. Now, from an Illinois perspective, an Illinois fandom perspective, I got to take another drink because no matter how you do this, how you put this just sucks for us as fans, right? Like, obviously, this sucks for both sides. Him, his family, the victim. Like, this all sucks. And it's really sad. And I hate these types of stories because, on one hand, you can say, oh, this victim, quote unquote victim, is trying to, get the bag from TSJ because he's going to be a lottery pick in the NBA. Or maybe TSJ, whatever this inappropriate touching is, God knows where it happened in this bar, when it happened, how it happened. I mean, does he come off to me as someone that would do something like that based off what we know from watching him play basketball and what we see on social media? No, but that those two things don't mean anything. So it's just like my hands are tied. I don't know. I don't know, guys. So it just leads me to, I'm just sad because I really did start to believe that this team really could at least go into a second weekend this year. And maybe they still can. They played very well tonight against Fairleigh Dickinson, and it's Fairleigh Dickinson, whatever. But man, it I was thinking to myself while watching the game, it's like I kind of like part of me wants them to just completely fall apart to a point to where I don't have any hope going into March. Like, still make the tournament, but get kicked out in the first round or something like that. Like, just play good enough to make the tournament, and then that's it. That's part of me wants that because then I won't have any hope. But if they play like they did against Fairleigh Dickinson tonight, against the rest of the Big Ten over the next 2.5 months, I know me. And I know that I will have hope. And hope is a dangerous thing, folks. I'll have hope. And then, like I said, I don't think he's going to come back and play. If they don't go deep, or if they go, Sweet 16, Elite 8, and lose in the second weekend, then all I'm going to think about is, man, imagine how far this team could have gone if they had Terrence Shannon Jr. Like, at this point, from a fan perspective, I'm just talking from a fan perspective, basketball perspective, it feels like a lose-lose situation for all of us. So that's why part of me is just was kind of like, I kind of just want them to look mediocre for the next 2 months. That way I don't get my hopes up. And I can't believe I'm saying that. That's not the kind of fan I am, as you all know. So that's where I'm at, guys. I hope that I explained things as best as I could. I think I hit the most important things. I recommend going to watch the entire presser. And what I said about Josh Whitman in terms of him being the leader of the athletic program at the University of Illinois, I'm not lying. I feel pretty proud that he is that dude. So I thought he did it. He did as well as he could for a situation that would be very tough for anyone, I think. So, whew. All right. We're about 23 minutes in. I appreciate y'all for hanging out. I didn't know what to expect. It's Friday night, the weekend of New Year's, and this conversation sucks. So I didn't know how many people would be here, but I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Let's go over the game. Let's do the fun part. Let's do the whole reason that I started this podcast to begin with. Illinois beat Fairleigh Dickinson 104-71 tonight. I believe the graphic on the screen was at the end of the game was the most points they scored since 2021 against some school called St. Francis. I don't know if that's a D1 program or not, but yeah. Anyway, Illinois, let's talk about the bad first because there's a lot of good. First half, even though they finished the first half up 20 points, I would say the first 15 minutes of the game, I wasn't surprised because they were playing without their best player. They, all this turmoil regarding all of this off the court stuff. I expected some sort of, I don't want to call it a letdown because you literally were winning by 20 at halftime, but some sort of, coming out flat, perhaps. And I felt like the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game, that's what it was. But as Dingus McCracken in the chat says, the Harmon coming out game, that was in full effect tonight. Justin Harmon had 18 points, That includes, I think he had 14 in the first half, and he was 4-7 of 3, hit 3 or 4 consecutive three-pointers in the final few minutes of the first half. Dude has cornrows now, and he's entered his cornrows era. And the transfer from Utah Valley State or whatever is going to, I don't know, become the next Jamar Smith. What a name, Illini legend. I thought this was his coming out game. It really was. This was definitely his best game. And I think coming into the game, he had missed 9 consecutive 3-point shots. So I tweeted at halftime, huge confidence booster for guys like him, and then Dane Danger. And Dane Danger, those first 15 minutes where Illinois was turning the ball over way too much and not hitting 3-point shots, he was dominating down low. He finishes with 19 points, 6 rebounds, no turnovers. He's 1 of 3 from the free throw line, which is fine. His ineptitude to make free throws when he gets like 10 attempts is what hurts this team, but only at the free throw line 3 times tonight. Team shot 19 for 26 from the free throw line tonight, which, it could be a little bit better, but I'm fine with it. It's better than going 12 for 26 or something like that, which I've seen this team do before. Right? So yeah, like I said, they turned the ball over a ton those first 15 minutes. They had 11 turnovers, like maybe with 6 minutes left. They finished the game with 13 total turnovers, which means I don't think they might have turned it over once in the second half, once or twice. They had too many turnovers in the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. So I thought that they cleaned that up. And, it's not that 3-point shooting, it's not that I need them to shoot 40% from 3 every game for me to be happy. But when you're turning the ball over like they were and missing 3-point shots like they were, it's just a recipe for failure. They stopped turning the ball over, and then they started, they pulled away. I mean, FDU was down single digits for the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game. Illinois just went on that huge run to end the half, and they go in at halftime with 48 points. And I'm like, how did they get 48 points? They couldn't score for the first 10 minutes of the game. But Justin Harmon was that spark plug that came off the bench and did well for them. I thought they had balanced scoring all night. I mean, you score 104 points, you're going to have balanced scoring, right? Quincy Guerrier continues his really good stretch of playing, 14 points tonight, hit another 3-pointer, 11 rebounds. Coleman Hawkins, 5 of 8 from 3-point land for Coleman Hawkins, which is huge. And all of them. I don't think I saw him take one step back 3 tonight. No fadeaway 3, no step back 3, no taking someone off the dribble and shooting a 3. It was beautiful. All in rhythm 3-point shots. Marcus Damask, 11 points. He was only 1 of 6 from 3. He's kind of struggled from beyond the arc these last handful of games, but 6 of 7 from the free throw line. He had 11 assists. 2 blocks, 1 steal. He made an impact in the game. You go 1 for 6 from 3. How are you doing things to impact the game? That's what he did. And then someone that I haven't talked about enough, and maybe I should start. Maybe I should start believing. Maybe I really should, guys. Ty Rodgers. Ty Rodgers was all over the place tonight. 15 rebounds, folks. 15 rebounds to go with 10 points, and he had 5 assists. It was a triple-double, alert, perhaps. If he would have got a few more assists, maybe there would have been a legit alert. But he had a great game. Adds a steal, 4 or 5 from the free throw line. I mean, he is developing into one of the better glue guys on this team that I've seen. I thought coming into this year maybe he'd kind of be like DeMonte Williams, but he just can't shoot, so he just play defense and do all the dirty work that you don't always see in the stat sheet and stuff like that. But the guy is making an impact, and it's showing in the stat sheet. And again, they played FDU tonight. I understand this, guys. I understand, but this was an encouraging game for me for Ty Rodgers. So I also thought Dre Gibbs Lawhorn getting into the second half, extended minutes in the second half. I thought that was fun. 4-7 from the field, 9 points, 4 rebounds, turned the ball over one time, and and he had 4 fouls, and that was in 14 minutes. But with TSJ out, this guy is going to play more. He needs to play more. He had 1 of 2 from the 3-point line. What I like about him is I think he might be one of the better just guys who can go out there and create a shot for themselves. And that's what I feel like Illinois is going to miss the most from Terrence Shannon Jr. Yes, TSJ, when you got it to him at half court, he's at the rim in a matter of 2 to 3 seconds because he is fast, athletic, and he's just a bulldozer that isn't afraid of anyone when he's going to the basket, right? A lot of his points come in transition. But he was still that guy you give the ball to at the end of the game to, in a close game and get a shot up, right? I feel like Gibbs Lawhorn could be that guy. Not over the next 5 games, but like perhaps going into March. If this team is going to exceed my expectations or hope or whatever, he's going to play a big role. I enjoyed hearing that same sentiment from Robbie Hummel on Big Ten Network today, actually. Or maybe it was yesterday. Anyway, he was talking about Gibbs Lawhorn and how he thinks that he could be that X factor for this Illini team. Thing is just I hope Brad plays him more than just like 10 minutes a game. I love Luke Goody, but Luke Goody, not great tonight. 2 points, 1 of 6 from the field, 3 rebounds, 0 of 4 from 3. It was a bad game, honestly, for Goody. But his role to me is better off the bench. That's what I think. So at some point, I think that when Moretti is healthy, maybe it's Harmon. I don't know. I think they got to get another guard in there, though. That's how I feel. Because maybe it won't happen again. Those first 10 to 15 minutes of the game with those turnovers, the turnovers in the backcourt. I just feel like someone like Gibbs Lawhorn or Moretti when he comes back, or maybe it is Harmon. I don't know. But one of those 3, I think they need to be. One of those 3 needs to be out there to help. I don't know. Get not only just get the ball across half court, but just another ball handler. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of my thoughts on that. We got a lot of comments here that I need to go through. Dingus McCracken, he is all over the chat tonight. I appreciate you. Matt Eggers says, Cody, don't give up hope on this team. This is a veteran team, and their 5-out offense is dangerous. Listen, Matt, in some aspects I agree. I think the next 4 games are going to be the prove it, like how they prove it to me, right? Like I'm down right now, and I'm trying to not let this game really dictate how I feel moving forward. They play at a mid-major school that, they had their coach is a first-year guy. I know they beat Purdue last year in the tournament, whatever. But again, I need to see it against a Big Ten team or just a Power 5 team, right? And it's going to be a test. I'm happy that they have some time off. They play Northwestern on Tuesday, I believe. So you got Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You got 3 days to prepare for Northwestern. So I felt like going into this game, it was going to be used as like kind of I don't want to disrespect FDU, but like I kind of feel like they use this game as like practice. So I hope I will say this. If they can shoot, if they can consistently shoot well from beyond the arc, I think they can hang with anyone tonight. They shot 40% from 3, and they started the game awful from 3. They were 2 of 11 from 3 to start this game. They finished 13 for 32. So, yeah, I mean, when you're shooting 13 for 32 from the 3-point line, you should be able to beat anyone, right? So, we'll see. I'm going to get I know myself, and I know I'm going to give this team a chance. I know I will. But related to what I was saying in terms of what I almost hope, just for the sake of, not being completely let down in March again, they got to really show me that they can be a very competitive team moving forward. And I'll give you this, Matt. They are an older team. So I don't think that, they will lay down to any of these teams that are ranked higher than them. I don't think they're going to, have any kind of, letdowns against teams that they should play better than. So things could be worse. You could be Michigan and lose to McNeese State tonight. Dingus McCracken. You have so many comments, man. Danger in the paint was huge tonight. Yeah, the first half he was great. Turnovers rough in the first half. Yep. Coleman, when he has his feet set, is just magical. Yeah, like I said, when he shoots the 3 in rhythm, whether it's off a pick and pop, a set play, something like that, great. When he tries to do it off dribble, it makes me want to throw my remote at the television. DGL was nice. Yeah, it was good to see him try and take advantage of the opportunity. I really do think that he could be an X factor for this team in the Big Ten season. Really hope he doesn't go into the portal. I think he's going to have a bigger role next year. I don't know why he didn't enter the portal. I would absolutely assume he's going to have a bigger role next year with how many older guys there are on this team that'll be graduating. So yeah, that's where we're at, guys. I'm trying to end the show on more of a positive note. It's tough. It's tough to, go through all this. And I was watching, was it Keeping It Orange and Blue with Ryan Evan, and I forgot his host's name. I was watching that podcast last night, and they kind of have some inside information related to TSJ, and like it's just information from other people that have told them, and who knows how much information those people really know, and like whatever. Like, I'm not saying I don't believe them, but it was interesting to get their perspective based off, some of the inside sources, I guess you could say, that they have. All in all, no matter what, I just think it's really sad for like the fan base, right? And obviously TSJ, the victim, it's just all really fucked up at this point. But I just, because we're all on the outside, because we're just fans of a basketball team, I just think it really sucks for all of us in general, because I was really starting to believe that this team could go deep, at least into the second weekend. And now we're probably never going to see it. In some ways, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that this thing is wrapped up on January 18th when he goes to court, and somehow, some way, he's back on the team going into February, somehow, some way. Absolutely. But we got to let these things play out, and it just sucks. And I thought Ryan Evan and his co-host, they kind of mention this too, related to just kind of like TSJ's legacy at Illinois. Like, I felt like TSJ was en route to get his name put up in the rafters next to Io DeSumo, man. Like, and that's what makes it so sad to me. That's what makes it so sad. Like, it's like a tragic story. Like, this could be like a 30 for 30 type thing. You know what I mean? Like, if if he was a much bigger name throughout college basketball outside of just this year, like, what a fall from grace, I guess you could say, eventually, but I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, but that's what makes me sad the most, is that, like, I just felt like he was going to have his name up there in the State Farm Center forever. That's where it felt like it was headed based off the season he was having. And if he would have taken this team into the second weekend, I absolutely believe that he would have been up there. Also, he's a Chicago guy too, so it's just like home state thing. Like, I don't know, just sucks, just really sucks. So, all right, we're about almost 45 minutes in. I appreciate y'all, I really do, for hanging out. We were almost at 100 viewers at one point. We kind of came down. We're back to more around 30. Hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. I know you can leave comments on the Twitter stream now too, but if you come to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button while you're here too. I appreciate it. Illinois and Northwestern next week. Listen, like I said, I don't have any expectations. The last podcast I said I want to see them go 4-1. I guess I won't take my expectation away, or my ask. I won't take that away. I'm still asking for 4-1. If you go 4-1, I'm all the way back in. You go 4-1 over these next 5 games. That includes the game tonight. You somehow go 4-1. That includes winning tonight, which you did. So you're 1-0. That means going 3-1 the next 4 games, beating Northwestern, beating Michigan State, and beating Maryland. Beating Purdue without Terrence Shannon Jr. would be all time. Maybe that's an exaggeration. It would be wild if they beat Purdue without Terrence Shannon Jr. on the road at Mackey Arena. I don't think I would let my good friend Greg Braggs forget about it. But 4-1, I'll keep it there. And if they live up to that, then I'm in. I'm in for, being optimistic. I'm in for being optimistic and going into March with hope. Right? If they do that. So we'll see what happens over the next 4 games. Again, I appreciate y'all. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on your way out. And if you're listening on the podcast feed, thank you. Tell your friends. And if you don't always catch a show live, you can search From Beyond the Pain on Spotify. That's where it's at. So, again, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great New Year's. I will see you all next week. And as always, ILL.